Ay, sorry. Sige. Yan. So, from there, makakakuha din tayo ng particle diameter natin. Ano? Kasi ang particle diameter natin is okay. So, for our particle diameter, ang gagamitin nating formula is pi c squared p all over 4. Okay, so therefore, to get your particle diameter, siya po ay magiging square root of 4. Tama. Square root of 4 multiplied by the area. 6 times 10 raised to negative 6 all over, kasama sa square root yan. Bale, 4 multiplied by 6 all over pi. Tapos ganun din sa kabila. So, therefore, ang magiging sagot natin dito is 2.76 times 10 raised to negative 3 meters. Tapos dito naman is 2.76 times 10 raised to negative 2 meters. Nasusundan ba? Susundan?
Hindi ka sabi ang mga kooperatiba ng mga kanya.
Uy, nasundan nyo ga? To get your DP, ito yung gagamitin natin na formula. Ay, sorry, mali. Ito, okay? Ang equivalent kasi nito ay yung 6 times 10 raised to negative 6, which is the area. So, to get your DP, di babalik-balik pa rin lang natin yung equation. Now, kuhanin natin yung cube niya. So, the cube of this would result to 2.103. Paki-double check po ako. Times 10 raised to negative 8 cubic meter. So, ito ay 2.103 times 10 raised to negative 5 cubic meter. Okay. Then to get your volume is equivalent to K. Okay, your K multiplied by dP cube. Okay. So what is your volume? Two point 2.103 times 10 raised to negative 8. Ay, naka-stop ako, sorry. 2.103 times 10 raised to negative 8 multiply 0 to 85. Nasa 6, tama? 6 times 10 raised to negative 9. Kasi again, your volume is equivalent to K prime dP cube. So ito ay 6 times 10 raised to negative 9 cubic meter. Okay? So ito naman ay 6.0 times 10 raised to negative 7 cubic meter. Nasusundan po? Nasundan? Again, yung K po natin ay constants. So, siya po ay given. Ano? Tapos, ang volume multiplied by product ng inyong K, yung constant natin, at saka ng dp cube or particle diameter or particle volume actually. Pero syempre, may madaming particle included. So in bulk, that's 0.285. Hmm? Okay. Huy, nasundan nyo ga? Okay. Ayan. So, what are you going to do next? Ang gagawin natin is to get your Reynolds equivalents. Ano, kuhanin natin yung ating total drag force actually for non-spherical particle. Sir, paano nyo po nalaman na non-spherical siya? Nakalagay dyan, mica, plates pa nakalagay. Ano, hindi naman siya beads para may ano natin siya. So, ang gagamitin natin na formula is yung given sa atin which is R sub O prime all over density U squared multiplied by squared is equivalent to 4k prime over U squared pi density minus density. Nakita ang formulang ito? Given sa atin ito. Tama ba ako? Okay. Ito yung sa terminal settling velocities natin of non-spherical particle. Okay. Okay. Now, substitute your values and what would you get for R sub O prime all over density mu. Sorry. So, dalawa ito, ha? Sa smallest at saka sa largest particle. What's for your smallest? Hindi. Si Christine. At, ay joke, di ko alam. Baka si Erin. Uy, ano sagot?
Hindi ko sure.
For the smallest, 1,340. Tama? Then for the largest, 134,000. Tama po ba?
Ayaw kasi ng biryani.
Hello, may kausap ga ako. Ang viscosity ay 0.01 squared pi. Density ng 3,000 minus density ng fluid 820 multiplied by 820 dp cube ay 2.03 times 10 raised to negative 8. Then gravity. Wait, iba ang lumabas pala sa akin. $3,000 negative. Ay, 1291 pala sa akin. Ito ba ang nakuha niyo sagot or 1291? One three. Ala, bakit ganun? Shift clear. Reset. Akala nyo lang yun. Charis. 4 times 0.285. Ulitin lang natin. Uy, nagkaklase ako. Ang pinagchichismis sa tube. $3,000 minus 820 multiplied by 820. Ah, 2.103 pala. It's negative 8 times 9. 1338 nga sa akin. Nag-clear ako ng calcu eh. So, by rounding it off, 1340. Okay? So, same with largest. Ano? Sa largest, yun din na nakuha nyo. Yung largest po, na-compute. $1,291 din kay Layton. Nag-clear ka din ng calcu, Layton?
Sir, baka po kaya 129 naman ay ano po pala. 103 po pala yun. Kala ko po 2.0.
Oo, sorry. My mistake. So, palitan lang natin yung values for largest naman. So, ang papalitan lang naman dito ay 0.0285. Times 10 raised to negative 5. $133,823.87. So by rounding it off, 134,000. Paki-confirm po ako. Ayan. Thank you, Ariel. Okay. Now that we have your equivalent Reynolds, ng particle, okay? Ang sunod natin gagawin is, pa-screenshot ako nito. 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, done SSD. Okay na. Kasi buburahin ko eh. Okay. So, na-screenshot na. Na-screenshot na ba? O, bigyan niyo ako ng idea kung na-screenshot yun. Baka may mabura-bura ko. Okay. Kasi wala akong extra slide for it. So, ilagay lang natin na ang smallest natin relative to the Reynolds ay 1340. Okay? Then, yung largest natin is equivalent to 13,400. Okay. Now, kuhanin natin yung log ng dalawang values na yan. Or log ni particle. Reynolds ni particle. Squared. Ay, sorry. Okay. Kuhanin niyo yung log. Anong lalabas? Kay smallest at kay largest. Anong value? 3.127. Tama? Okay. Tapos, yung largest, ilog din natin siya. Anong lalabas? Log ni 1340. 5.1271. Okay? Yan. So, dito na natin gagawin yung table. Okay? So, yung next table, yung next slide, yan. Ito yung values ng, sorry, mali pala. Ito, yan. Yung values ni log ng Reynolds mismo ng fluid na nyo as a function ng Reynolds ng inyong particle for spherical particles. Pero dahil hindi naman tayo naka-sphere, wait, sphere ba ang gagamitin natin dito? Wait lang. Hindi, tama. Kasi sphericity yung ginagamit natin eh. Okay. Kasi naka-square tayo dun sa formula. Okay. So, ang gagawin natin dito is, ano yung given? 3.127. So, ito yung 3, 0.1, at saka 0.2. Si 0.127 ay between these two. So, you need to interpolate a value. Okay? And that is the log of your Reynolds number with respect dun sa inyong fluid. So, ano pong magiging answer? Tapos yung isa naman ay nasa 5.127. So, nandito siya. It's between this value and this value. So, ano ngayon ang log ng inyong Reynolds? Kasi ang target natin is to get your terminal velocity or settling velocity. Ito kasi particle plus fluid. Ito particle lang. Okay? Naintindihan po? Nakuha nyo bang sagot dito? Ay, sorry. Dito ko na lang pala susulat, di palabas ah. Nakuha nyo bang sagot dito ay 1.581. Tapos dito ay 2.857. Ayan, tama. 1.5. Doon sa ano? Sa 5.127. Wala ng tubig. Anong sagot? Same ba tayo na naging sagot? 2.857. Okay. So, dahil nakuha na natin, so ang lalagay natin dito is si 1.581 tapos si ano nga yun? 2.857. Okay. Ang sunod natin gagawin is kuhanin naman natin yung correction. Okay? So, pag kinuha nyo si correction, ang gagamitin naman natin ay ito. Corrections to log ng RE as a function. Ay, ito nga ba? Oo, ito. Ito ang gagamitin natin. Non-spherical. Okay? Sir, bakit po nag-non-spherical? Kasi non-spherical talaga yung ating particle. Ang ginamit natin dito ay relative to sphericity. Nakukuha po ba? Relative to sphericity. So, ang gagawin natin is magdo-double interpolation po tayo. Ano? So, nakuha natin si 3.127. So, between these two, tapos, ay, sorry. Hindi ba eh. Nga, 3 point. Oo, kasi 'di ba ang smallest particle natin is nasa 3.127. Kukuhanin natin yung correction niya. So yung correction niya is dahil ang K natin, 'di ba ang given K natin kanina ay for the smallest particle ay 0.285. So between these two, kuhanin muna natin si 0.285 dito. Nasusundan niyo ba ako? Nasusundan yung ginagawa natin? Okay. Dahil given si K prime natin kanina 0.285, wala kasing given na direct. So, kukuha ngayon tayo ng values between 3 and 3.5, okay, na 0.28 or 285 yung ating K prime. So, ano yung magiging value? Mode 6. Ang X ko ay 0.2 tapos 0.3. Ang Y ko ay negative 0.022 negative 0.032. Mas ang kailangan ko ay Y at 0.285. Ang nakuha nyo ba dito ay negative 0.0305. Okay. Tapos, interpolate ulit tayo dun sa isa. So, pwedeng isa-isahin nyo. Pwedeng kayo na bahala kung gusto nyo madamihan agad. Pero ako, dun ako sa isa-isa kasi nalilito ako. So, 0.2 ulit. 0.3. Tapos, negative 0.056. Negative 0.052. Okay, tapos 0.285 options, regression, 5. Ito ay negative 0.0526. Same ba tayo? Ayan. Tapos, kuhanin naman natin si 3. Ano nga yun? 3.127. Okay? Okay. So, mode, start ulit tayo to 3.5, negative 0.0305, negative 0.0526. Tapos, 3.127, option, regression, anong nakuha nyo? Ang naging answer nyo ba dito ay negative 0.036. Ayan, okay.
Ano po ang nangyari sa kagat?
So, after nyan, balik tayo dun sa problem. Dito natin siya lalagay. So, may correction tayo na minus 0.036. Ano? So, ganun din dito sa kabila. Paki-compute ako dun sa largest kung ano lalabas.
Bawat kwento mo, hinahanap ko yung client story.
Pakichat ako ng sagot, ha? You can refer doon sa aking uploaded na file for the tables. So, ganun din. Ano ang gagamitin natin? Yung may Reynolds number na squared for spherical particles. Tapos, i-correct natin siya. Okay? Dahil non-spherical particle yung ating material. Malay nyo, lumabas yan sa exam. Ito ay negative 0.
Sige.
Try ulit natin. So, ang hahanapin naman natin is 2.857. So, i-correct natin siya here. So, 2. Ano nga ulit? 2.857. So, between dito. Gawin ko naman yellow. Dito naman. 2.857. Wait lang. Parang mali ako ng ginawa. Ay, tama pala. 0.0285 naman. So, ang mangyayari dito is extrapolation. Ano? Tama ba? Kasi wala tayong wala tayong given value. Ano? Kasi ang hinahanap natin is ano to? 0.0285. So, pwede nating i-estimate. Kasi normally naman, halos isang step lang naman. We can estimate na ito ay 0.3. Ay! Pero is 0.3 estimated. Okay? Nasundan po kung bakit estimated. Hello. Kasi 'di ba ang unit naman natin kanina is naka-millimeter lang. 6 tapos 600. So kung correction at correction din, parang ratio and proportion lang ang mangyayari. Nagets po ba? Six by 0.036 equal 600 alpha x. Tingnan natin kung gagana sa ano. Key? Hello, nasundan nyo ga? Nasundan? Hindi. Okay. Alisin ko to. Di ba ito ay galing dito? Yung negative 0.036. Okay? Kasi wala tayong K prime na mag-i-equal sa 0.02. Sir, saan galing yun? Yung K prime natin kanina, tiga sa smallest, ang K prime nyo ay 0.285. Sa largest ay 0.0285. Natandaan na po. Ito yung K prime values natin. Okay. Kung mapapansin nyo doon sa K prime, nag-move lang ng isa. Kaya dito, in-estimate, since wala tayong definite value, okay, ng K prime dito, pwedeng i-estimate natin na naiipod ng isang beses din. Okay, nagets po? Kaya ito ay negative 0.30 or kung gusto nyo, 0.36. Kaso, masyado kasing defined kapag nag 0.360 tayo. Kaya inassume lang na 0.3. Okay? So kung yun ang correction, i-add ito. Okay? So 1.581 plus negative 0.036. So ang corrected na ninyo na log ng Reynolds number natin would be how many? Plus minus 0.036. That is 1.545. Tama po? Tapos itong isa ay 2.857 minus 0.3. So ito naman ay 2.557. Okay. Ngayon, ang gusto natin is kuhanin yung Reynolds number. So if you are to get your Reynolds number, I need to raise this sa 10. Okay, magbe-base 10 ako. So 10 raised to 1.545, that is 35.0752. So same din sa kabila, 10 raised to 2.557, I have 360.5786. Tama po? Tama? To cancel your log, di ba? Yan. Ganyan siya. So, cancel to. Reynolds na lang matitira. Okay. So, if that is the case, makukuha natin ang velocity. Kasi, di ba sabi natin, Reynolds number is equivalent to rho dV over mu. And lahat ng ito ay meron na tayo. Tama po? So, if I have 35.0752 density ng aking particle, try to check nga. Density ng particle, that's 3,000. Okay? Ang inyong D kanina, what's your D? Diameter natin is 2.76 times 10 raised to negative 3. Tapos, ang ating velocity all over your viscosity. What's the given viscosity sa atin? It's, anong given sa atin? Ayan, yung 10. 10 micrometer. So, that's 0.01. Okay, so ano ang ating velocity? Try nga kung tama tayo. Okay. Alpha x over 0.01. Shift solve. Okay. Ba't parang mali ang aking ginawa? Or baka ito yung fluid. Yung fluid pala ito. Sorry. Sorry po. Ito ay 820. Sorry. 0.154 0.1549. Okay. So, sa largest, ang velocity natin is 360.5786. 820. 2.76 times 10 is 73. Velocity all over 0.01. Anong velocity natin? Though magbabago ang density, ito ay times 10 is to negative 2 pala. Sorry. Tama ba? 0.1593 meters per second. So, yung particle natin ay, ayan, sumagot pala si Nakristo. So, ang particle natin from 6 to 600 square millimeter, okay, na mica plate ay nagta-travel along the oil with a density of 820 kilograms per cubic meter ng 0.15498 meter per second for the smallest, and for the largest naman ay 0.1593 meter per second. Okay, nasundan po. Okay, nagkaintindihan tayo. Okay, sige. About the others po, naintindihan? Okay. So you can also use this formula. Ano? Pwede rin ito. Ito yung ginamit pala natin, but you can also use this one. Okay. So kapag ito namang isa ang ginamit nyo, ang gagamitin ninyo na values or table is this one. Ano? Yung 4, negative 1. Okay? Then yung correction factor natin na gagamitin ay dito. For non-spherical particles. Okay? Ganun lang naman siya. So medyo matrabaho kasi ang daming tables na i-check. And that method was actually given by ang pangalan niya nito, Haywood. Though yung published kasi niya na book nito ay mga around 1986 pa, kaya medyo mahirap maghanap, okay, ng literatures for this one. Yan. Okay. Now, let's proceed with sedimentation. Okay. So, what are the factors that would affect sedimentation? Ano? Okay. So, suspended solids settle naturally by gravity or with the aid of a flocculant. So, yung thickened solids natin na normally kinokollect at the bottom of the tank, while the clarified liquid overflows through a weir naman. So, basically, sedimentation is a unit operation that is used to separate a suspension into a clear supernatant fluid and a dense slurry with a higher concentrations of solids. So for clarifiers, these are known sedimentation tanks that are designed to obtain a clear liquid at the top interface ng inyong slurry, while thickeners aim to produce a thickened slurry na magsasettle naman sa ilalim. Okay. And the most affecting factors sa ating sedimentation operation are the following. You have your particle size, water temperature, and the current. So for particle size, the larger and denser particles are, such as sand and silt, they settle easily under gravity. Kasi syempre, mas mabigat sila, mas mabilis silang bumabagsak. So smaller colloidal particles remain suspended and require coagulation and flocculation with chemicals. When we say coagulation or flocculation, we need our particles to coalesce or somehow magdikit-dikit, but not to an extent na magpo-form sila ng solids. Kaya there are cases na minsan hahawakan mo yung material, bigla siyang nagdi-disrupt, bigla siyang nasisira. Dahil yun ang hindi masyadong maganda ang ginamit na flocculant or coagulant natin. Then we have water temperature. So lower temperatures slow down, okay, the settling rate. Sir, bakit po? Bakit bumabagal ang settling rate ng material kapag mababa ang temperature? Bakit po? What's the relativity of temperature to viscosity? The lower the temperature is, the higher the viscosity is. Ano? One reason kung bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng mataas na value ng stickiness or pagkapit ng inyong fluid sa material na dumadaan. Okay? Next, to compensate for slower settling, increase detention time and adjust coagulant dosage. Lastly, you have your currents, okay, or pertaining ito doon sa inyong mismong fluid. So, density currents that are caused by the weight of solids, solid concentration, and water temperature in the tank na nagiging isa sa reason kung bakit possible bumilis or bumagal ang pagbagsak ng particles within a sedimentation tank. Another thing is the formation of your eddy currents. Kumbaga, sa inyong sedimentation tank, for example, ang eddy currents ay yung mga swirls or bubbles na possible na nag-o-occur habang bumabagsak ang particle ninyo pababa. So, ang tendency niya ay medyo tumaas ng kaunti. So, these are produced by the flow of water entering and leaving the tank. Now, let's proceed with the sedimentation basin zones and its selection or yung actual design ng ating sedimentation tanks. Okay, so basin zones, we have 4 different zones actually. So each zone should ensure a smooth transition to the adjacent zones and each serving a unique purpose. In rectangular sedimentation basins, these zones are distinct. And in square or circular clarifiers naman, water enters from the center and exits through outlets around the edges. The zones remains identifiable within the clarifier. So, meron pala tayong iba't ibang design, okay, ng basins natin. So, merong rectangular at meron din naman tayong square or circular clarifiers known as sedimentation tanks as well. Okay. So first of these zones, you have your inlet zones. That's na ang purpose is to distribute water and control velocity as it enters the basin. And it prevents turbulence and short-circuiting where it ensures even flow distribution. Tapos, itong mga to, okay, yan yung tinatawag din natin na mga weirs. Okay. So, the flow control or for the flow control ng water natin, for example, water velocity over 0.15 meter per second can break up yung flock o yung nabubuo-buo. Okay? Dito, sa normally suspended sila, tapos nagsisettle sila pababa. So, yung 0.15 meter per second na flow ng tubig, ang tendency nito ay mag-disperse. Okay? Reducing settling efficiency. So, kailangan mas mababa sa 0.15 meter per second yung flow ng ating fluid or liquid. So, the inlet design normally is in rectangular basin and it features a stealing wall, perforatable baffle. Ito po yung stealing wall na yun na tinutukoy for even distribution. So, naiiwasan dito yung pagkakaroon ng eddies. Okay? Kasi tumatama directly dito at ito na lang yung nagiging lusutan. Okay? So, nagkakaroon ka ngayon ng laminar flow. Next is your settling zone. So, your settling zone, its purpose is kung saan magsasettle most likely yung inyong sludges. Okay? So, the settling zone allows the bulk of settling to occur. Sir, bakit po sa inlet meron ng agad bumabagsak? Kasi normally, dahil nga limited yung entrance, okay? Yung tendency nung iba is mag-settle na automatically dito. Pero mas mabagal sila compared doon sa pagsasettle dito sa settling zone. Sir, bakit po mas mabagal? Kasi nga, nandito yung flow. So, yung formation ng eddies natin or parang pinaka-disruption, okay, ay mas mataas dito. Yan. Mas magulo dito kumbaga. Okay? So, water velocity is greatly reduced in the settling zone dahil nagkaroon na ng pinaka-block. Okay? Which is this one. So, ito yung nag-serve as control ng flow ng ating system. Uh-huh. So it requires a slow, even flow of water for optimal performance. Kasi sabi nga kanina, okay, 0.15 meter per second na flow ng inyong liquid can disrupt, okay, your flocculant already. Then the settling zone occupies the largest volume of the sedimentation basin, and minsan may mga design kayo na meron yan para parang pinaka LC. Yung LC na yon yung nag-i-scrape sa baba or minsan sa taas, depende kung ang process ninyo ay frotting. Sa frotting, sa ibabaw naman nag-form ng mga bula-bula. So yun yung tinatanggal. Then the settling zone may be large area of open water. Okay. Then we have the sludge zone. So sa sludge zone, most likely nandito yung ating sludge. Okay? So dito siya kinokollect yung sludge natin. May mga cases na ang flocculants natin or coagulants ay collected sa ibabaw. Depende sa design. But most likely, hindi na siya sedimentation. So, yung mga ganong klase ng design ay nagpo-fall under flotation o kaya naman frottation or frotting. So, the sludge zone is located at the bottom of the sedimentation basin where sludge is temporarily collected. Ang flow control natin dito is controlled or very slow, controlled to a very slow movement. Okay? Para maiwasan yung pagre-resuspend ng sludge natin. Kasi kung masyadong mabilis ang flow ng fluid natin, for example, sa sludge zone, ang tendency ngayon niya is mag-form din ng eddies, okay? Or magkaroon ng bubbling effect dito. At kapag nagkaroon ng bubbling effect, ang tendency ng flocculants mo ay mag-resuspend. So, mababawasan or mawawala yung goal natin na magkaroon ng clear fluid na siyang lalabas sa outlet zone natin. So, the sludge zone is designed wherein a drain at the bottom of the basin allows for easy sludge removal. Normally, nandito yun sa side. Yan. So, the tank bottom should slope toward the drain to facilitate sludge removal. So, in real design po ng sedimentation tanks natin, lalo na kung malalaki talaga, ito po ay medyo pababang ganyan. Para nag-i-slide siya. Okay, at madali yung collection. So, sludge removal can be continuous using automated equipment or manual in some plants. Meron kasi mga planta na tumitigil yung operation para lang magtanggal ng sludge. May mga operations naman na totally dinedrain na siya. And then the outlet zone. So the outlet zone has this biggest or well-defined control ng amounts of water that would flow out dun sa sedimentation basin natin. So it ensures only well-settled water leaves the basin and enters the filter. Kasi syempre, hindi pa naman yan fully malinis talaga. So kailangan pa siyang i-filter at i-treat afterwards. It prevents short-circuiting of water in the basin. So ang flow control natin dito is normally it utilizes an overflow weir to control water level. Yung weir na yon, ito po siya. Okay, yung mga giting-giting na yan. And skims the best quality of water from the very top of the basin. Para siyang yung sa mga dampa. Okay, makikita nyo na parang may, kunyari ito, pinakadampa. Kasi parang may natalasik-talasik lang doon. Hindi totally lahat sumasama. Okay? So, it begins, or the sludge zone design begins when the baffle, bakit sludge zone? Outlet zone to dapat. Begins with a baffle in front of the effluent to prevent floating material from escaping and clogging filters. Then, the effluent structure includes yung launder natin, weirs, and effluent piping. Then, your weirs are attached to the launder side, skims water evenly off the tank. Kaya siya ay giting-giting. Kasi ang ginagawa niya, may mga solid particles pa yan for sure kasi doon siya naiiwan. Tapos yun yung tinatanggal manually or binabalik doon sa settling tank. Yeah. There are also other types of weirs na pwede nating gamitin. Okay. So for the other types of weirs, normally it has notches holes or slits along its length, allowing water to flow through. And the most common type of weir na meron tayo is a V-shaped notch which allows only the top few centimeters of water to exit the sedimentation basin. So, ang itsura niya ay ganito po. Okay? Yan yung V natin na tinatawag. Yan. So alternatively, vertical slits can provide more variation in operational water levels. So yung tinasabing vertical slits, normally ay, yan, ganito na. Or depende kasi kung anong orientation din ng inyong sedimentation tanks. So for a rectangular basin, okay, it is the most commonly used design or structure for large-scale water treatment plants due to their high tolerance to shock overload, predictable performance, and cost effectiveness. And normally, they are the most simplest actually to design that leads to lower construction and maintenance cost na din. Kaya siya yung gamit na talaga. So while also minimizing short-circuiting for efficient treatment, since meron siyang weirs, meron din siyang mga pinaka-control, okay, nung flow throughout the whole system. While for circular and square basins naman, it requires most of the time ng mga, what you call this, pinaka-scrapers. Okay? Kasi ang movement naman ng flow natin is rotational or paikot talaga, scattered. So while similar to rectangular clarifiers in some performance aspect, square basins are more susceptible to short-circuiting and particle removal issues. Kasi nga, constant. Nagkakaroon ng disruption kasi. So, may tendency na, gaya nito, kung mapapansin nyo, umiikot siya or dito nagkakaroon ng movement. Wait, ayusin ko. Okay. May gagalaw dito, tapos may gagalaw dito. So, ang tendency ngayon, pagka mas malakas yung current ng isa, nagkakaroon ng disruptment yung mga flocculants. So, nagkakaroon ulit ng resuspension. Yan. But we also have the so-called high-rate settlers, kung saan naman mas controlled na doon sa rectangular natin. Kung mapapansin sa rectangular, continuous lang yung flow ng influent natin hanggang sa maging effluent siya. But for high-rate settlers, ang nangyayari, may mga panels, okay? Or ano nga tawag nila dito? May mga, parang mga blinds na ginagamit. So high-rate tube settlers are essentially an upgrade for rectangular clarifiers. They work by adding a series of tubes typically angled at 60 degrees within the tank, and this increases the surface area available for particles to settle out of the water. So other than the actual water, yung pagsususpend niya doon, kumakapit na dyan, okay, yung mga flocculants natin or yung mga sludge na na-form, then nag-i-slide down sila pababa hanggang sa nako-collect na sila afterwards. We also have this solid contact units kung tawagin natin, wherein streamline water treatment ang kanyang purpose, and normally it is a combination ng coagulation, loculation, and sedimentation in one vessel. This is also known as upflow or sludge blanket clarifiers, for they excel in lime soda ash water softening. So yung water flows upward through a suspended sludge blanket. Okay? So, nangyayari dyan is, dito yung sludge discharge natin. Pero, dito rin pumapasok yung influent natin. Pasok sa influent, lalabas ngayon siya dyan, paikot yan hanggang sa bumaba ng bumaba at doon na ulit lumabas. Tama ba? Ay, hindi. Sorry. Mali. Iba pala yung nasa isip ko. Dito siya papasok. Tapos, yung sludge mo, mag-i-stay lang dito. Yung mga launder, yan, effluent launder, dyan siya lalabas dito sa side. Tapos, umiikot yan para masalo niya kasi nga pataas yung flow ng inyong fluid. Okay? So, those are the typical sedimentation setups na pwede natin gamitin or pagpilian whenever we try to design a specific process that would involve sedimentation. But normally, wastewater treatment ang pinaggagamitan ng sedimentation processes natin. Majority ay nandoon. Okay. Now, let's have batch sedimentation. Okay. So for batch sedimentation, we also have this so-called zones, okay, na pinapertain or tinutukoy. So batch settling involves distinct zone formation, and each zone has a typical characteristic, kumbaga. And first, we have zone A, na normally this is the zone of clarified liquid just below the liquid mass surface. So ito yung wala ng kulay, or kumbaga kapag naglagay ka ng isang basong tubig tapos nilagyan mo siya ng sand, ito na yung clear part, okay, nung isang basong tubig na yon. Excuse me. Then a suspension zone where free settling occurs naman is your zone B. Okay, so your zone B is where most of the sedimentation or settling nga occurs. So dito nangyayari yung pagbaba mismo, okay, ng mga particles through a fluid. So the interface between zone A and B moves downward at the free settling velocity. Ang ibig sabihin nung moves downward, parang bumababa yung area or yung zone kung saan nagsasettle or nagfo-flow yung inyong particles, at tumataas naman yung part ng naka-clarify natin. So as we increase yung area ng clarified liquid natin, we decrease naman the area kung saan nagsisettle freely ang particles natin. While for your zone C, this is a solid rich zone that is formed doon naman sa bottom part natin. Okay, so ito siya. Yan, nandito siya. Si zone C, majority pa lang niya ay parang, call this, solid particles already over your liquid ones, pero hindi pa siya yung compressed talaga. Kasi we have zone D, which is known to be the compression zone, okay, that contains all settleable particles. So lahat ng wala ng movement, lahat na nagsettle na talaga sa ilalim, nasa compression zone na sila. Ito, medyo affected pa siya ng like buoyancy, okay, gravitational acceleration, current. So medyo luag pa, kumbaga, yung space dito sa zone C natin. Okay? So the height of this zone decreases to an asymptotic value over time. Yung inyong zone D. Okay? Yung compression natin. Kasi syempre, mako-compress lahat ng solid material natin throughout time by the influence of gravity. While for, we call AB interactions and BC interactions as your critical points. Okay? It means to say that these are the part ng sedimentation tank natin or ng system natin kung saan possible magkaroon ng reaction or what do you call this, interaction, yung mga components na meron tayo doon sa ating material or sa ating system rather. Okay. So sa sedimentation, we also have this settling regimes na tinutukoy. So for the settling regimes, we have your particulate and or free settling. So the particles are at low concentration and have ample distance between such that individual particles do not impede the motion of one another. Meaning, ito yung part kung saan lumulutang lang sila at bumabagsak or bumababa due to gravity, and normally that is your zone B. Okay. And we can get the settling time, okay, as equivalent to the initial bed height minus the critical bed height all over the free settling velocity. Your critical bed height normally is yung na-form na natin. So ito. So ito ay ibabawas natin sa kabuuan ito. Yan. Para makuha natin yung settling zone lang mismo. Next is your zone or impeded settling. So dito naman, the particles settle as a mass and the settling rate is a function of the solid's concentration. So therefore, magkakaroon ng um, improvement, kumbaga, yung free settling formula natin. So we will be getting infinitesimal changes or decrease, infinitesimal decrease, okay, ng height ng inyong tank for a particular time. And that is equivalent to the product ng inyong specific constant, okay, to the, what do you call this? Heights, okay, at a particular time as well. So, by integrating this equation, we will result to a definite, okay, relationship ng time and height with respect to proportionality constant K. So, normally, ito naman ay nandito na siya, sa C, or formation ng C. So, kung mapapansin nyo, tumataas ang placement ni C dahil sa lumalaking area na nako-cover ni compression zone. So, si compression zone, it is also known as your compression settling, where the particles are restrained by hydrodynamic forces and the settling rate is a function of both concentration and solids depth. Then we have your settling regime criterion. So si settling regime criterion, masasabi natin na siya ay yung pinaka-general. Hindi ko dala. Padala ko na lang kay Marian. Thank you. Ayun. So, your settling regime criterion denotes the value of your K kung saan ma-identify natin kung siya ba ay papasok ng particulate or free settling, ng zone or impeded settling, or siya ay nasa compression settling already. Okay? So, your K design criterion is a correlation to help determine the range in which the motion of the particle lies. And once we have known yung K na yon, we will be considering its value. Kung siya ba ay less than 2.6 or less than 3.3 or other criterions necessary. Kasi we will be following specific laws kung saan makakakuha tayo ng settling velocities nila. Okay. Yan po. So we have 3. Ayan, we have 3. Ay, sorry dito. Ito ay dapat pa lang, settling regime criterion as well. Yan. Then we have hindered settling. So yung ginagawa natin doon sa motion of the fluid, that's already considered as a pre-settling. Okay. So under sedimentation, may chances na siya po ay hindered settling. Okay. So bakit kaya? Una, the current. Pangalawa, other particles na meron doon sa ating system. And patatlo, yung walls ng mismong, what do you call this? Ng sedimentation tank natin or ng tube. So it is an equation that is used for suspensions of uniformly sized spherical particles to estimate the settling velocity of the suspensions of fine particles. So it must be used to caution, or it must be used with caution rather, since yung settling velocity kasi natin is also dependent doon sa particle size distribution and particle geometry natin. So nakakaapekto yung shape and size ng specific particle natin doon sa actual flow ng ating particles. So we can get terminal settling velocity or hindered settling velocity as multiplied to your settling velocity, or sorry, the product of your settling velocity and porosity raised to an exponential constant that can be obtained from the Paris Handbook. Okay. Wait lang. Okay, so for us to appreciate the formulas given and the concepts given, let us try to solve a problem. So sabi dyan, we have a laboratory test on a suspension of a solid in a liquid gave the following information. Okay, so you have this specific data na pwede nating i-illustrate later. So 1,000 cubic feet of similar sludge is to be settled in a vertical cylindrical tank, the diameter of which is equal to the depth of the liquid suspension in it, and the time it would take for the solid to settle to a height of 20% of the original sludge is blank or is what. So let us try to illustrate first kung ano ba yung nangyayari. Okay. So meron tayo daw, ilan ba to? 1, 2, 3. Meron tayong tig-apat na heights. The original height, the height of the sludge at the end of resettling period, the height of the sludge at the end of 120 minutes, and the height of the sludge when settled completely. Okay? So, to illustrate, tas buburahin ko rin to. So, screenshot nyo na lang. Imagine this is a perfect tank. Yan. So, ang original height niya, okay, is 10 inches. So, we have your ZO 10 inches. Tapos, after or at the end of the free settling period, yung height niya ay naging ZC ito. Equivalent to 6.5 inches. Okay? Then sabi, height of the sludge at the end of 120 minutes, naging 4 inches. Okay? With time na equivalent sa 120 minutes. So this is your Z already. Then lastly, yung ating magiging Z infinity is equivalent to 1.5 inches. Okay? So that is how we illustrate. Okay. So given that, pinahanap sa atin kung gaano katagal magse-settle to a height of 20%. Okay? Wait lang. Paano natin to gagawin? Okay. So imagine this is your tank. If this is your tank, ang volume niya ay 1,000 cubic feet daw. Okay. Tapos, I have here a particular height. Yan. Tapos, diameter. Pero, the time it would take for the solid to settle to a height of 20%. So, let us say, what is the Z ngayon kung saan 20% siya ng original. Okay? So, yan yung magiging guide ano natin. Okay. So, what will we do now? So, una, free settling muna tayo. Kasi yun yung pinaka madali. So, for free settling, you have yan. Tapos, ano mo formula? Yan. So, you have your Z at a particular time minus your Z at compression all over your velocity time t. Okay. So, with this, anong meron tayo? We have 10. Tama? 10 minus, wait, sulat ko nga dito. This is Z theta. Ito ay ZC. Z, tapos ay Z infinity. Yan. So, for free settling, masasabi natin na ito ay 10 minus 6.5 all over your mu. And sabi sa problem, ano sabi? Ito, ay U lang pala. Ang U natin is 0.10 inches per minute. So, this is how many? $35 minutes, tama ba? Okay, that's 35 minutes. So, okay. At ang trinavel ni 35 minutes is 10 minus 6.5. So, 3.5. Okay. Now, let's have your hindered settling. So, sabi sa hindered, ang time is 120 minutes. Tama ba? Ayan, no? Height of sludge at the end of 120 minutes. So, your Z here, ay sorry, is equal to 4 inches. So, if that is the case, we have time, hindered settling, pre-settling plus 1 over K ln of Z minus Z infinity all over ZC minus Z infinity. Okay, so we are to substitute our values. So we have 120 equivalent to 35 minutes plus 1 over K ln of 4 minus 1.5 over ZC 6.5 minus 1.5. So what's the value of your K? What's the value of your K? ang k ba natin ay negative 8.1547 times 10 raised to negative 3. Ayan. Okay, so meron na tayong k value. Okay. So what happens now? Nakakuha na tayo ng k natin. Ang sabi, what if daw, or gano'ng katagal daw ang i-settle to a height of 20% ng original sludge. Okay. So if that is the case, that is, ang z natin ay equivalent sa 0.2 10 inches. So that is 2 inches. Okay? So yan yung gagamitin ngayon natin. So we have time, tapos 35 plus 1 over the calculated k, negative 8.1547 times 10 raised to negative 3, ln of, ano yung magiging z na natin? 2. 2 na yung panibago natin, okay? Minus 1.5, which is the infinity, all over, ano na yung critical natin? Ang magiging critical na natin is 6.5 minus 1.5. Okay? So, what is now your time? $317.3629 minutes. Okay? Naintindihan po? Pero hindi pa natatapos dito. Kasi, we still need to compare this to the commercial one. Kasi ito ay batch pa lang ito. Ano? But what if siya ay commercial tank condition? So kapag ka i-compare natin yung batch sedimentation with commercial tank sedimentation, ang magiging formula po natin is the time commercially all over HO or height equal to time ng pagsisettle sa tank over HO din. Okay. Where ito ay batch test. So, kumuha ka lang ng specific batch from your commercial hindered settling. Okay? So, anong gagawin natin dyan? Wala tayong height. Ano? Pero, burahin ko na po ha. Pa-screenshot ako. 123.321.ssd. Ganun ako mag-ano. Na SSD na, guys. Pa-check out na lang, ha? Okay. So, anong gagawin natin? Oo. Kasi may nakopya pa dyan ng solution. Ganun. Ayan. So, anong gagawin natin? So, all we need to do is first get yung height. Ano, kasi may height tayo for the batch and that is 10 inches. Pero what if doon sa commercial? So, ang volume daw ay 1,000 cubic feet as given. Okay? And we all know kung cylinder siya, volume is pi d squared over 4 times the height. Okay? Where height is equivalent to the diameter. Sir, saan nanggaling? Ito po yun. Diameter of which is equal to the depth of the liquid suspension in it. Ibig sabihin, yung height na ito ay equal doon sa, yung height na to ay equal dito. So, para siyang maling. Ganun. Na equal. Kung gaano kalaki or kahaba yung diameter, ganun din kalaki or kataas yung maling natin, yung lata natin. Okay, so therefore, we can deduce this as pi d cube over 4. Okay, so if that is the case, we can now get the value of D. You have 1,000 cubic feet pi d cube over 4. Or gawin ko na lang na 4,000. So therefore, what is the value of your D? Anong value ng D natin? Which is also equivalent to your HO for your commercial. Ako din. Puti na lang last class ko na sila. Uy, may naiintindihan ka kayo. Okay, medyo inaantok at ako'y puyat. Oh. Ano ang height? .8385. Very good. You're a great sinner. 10.8385. Ito ay in feet. So, ito in inches ay ilan? So, 10.8385 divided by, tama ba? Mali pala, times pala. Times 12. That's 130. 130.062 inches. Sir, ba't mo kinonvert sa inches? Kasi naka 10 inches po tayo for your batch. So, therefore, ang ating commercial is equivalent to, battery critically low. Your tablet will power off in 60 seconds. OMG. Wait lang, magcha-charge lang. Hindi pa nga natapos. Ayan, charging na. Okay, going back. Ayan. So, therefore, we have now yung time sa tank natin multiplied by HO ng commercial all over HO ng tank. So, ito ay sorry, bakit ganun? That is, ano ngayon na-compute natin kanina? 317.3629 multiplied by 130.062 inches over 10 inches. So, ano ang ating time? times 130, 0.62 divided by 10. Ay, bakit iba? Minutes ito, no? Tama pala ako. Nasa isip ko yung hours. 30.062 by 10. Ano na compute nyo? 4,127.6853. 54 minutes. Ayan. So, divide 60. That's 68.7948 hours. Naintindihan po ang ginawa natin? Ay, nako. Grabe na ang antok ng version na ito. Okay. Naintindihan nyo ga ang ating pinagagagawa. Okay. So, kung naintindihan, ay di masasagutan ang problem set. Ano po? Yeah. Okay. So, if that is the case, last, you have your flocculation and coagulation. Ano? So, for flocculation, this is a crucial process in sedimentation. Okay. In sedimentation. Significantly affecting the behavior of fine particle suspensions. So, it involves yung aggregation of colloidal particles into larger clumps at tinatawag natin sila as flux. So, this aggregation is driven by the attractive forces between your particles. Primarily, ang bond na nangyayari or forces involved is van der Waals forces. So, the Stern model, actually, yung given sa atin dyan, na figure, it describes yung ganitong klase ng structure or yung flocculation itself. So it is divided into two regions wherein we have the surface charge and the diffuse charge. So ito yung surface charge natin. And ito yung ating diffuse layer. Okay? And it is separated by a stern plane. Ay, ito pala yung stern plane natin. Okay. So, the electrical potential decreases. Okay? Ito yung zeta potential natin. Pababa ngayon siya. Okay? From the surface to zero within the diffuse layer. So, yung zeta potential natin is measurable through electrokinetic techniques. That serves as a practical indicator of the double layers that influence on interparticle interactions. One reason kung bakit nakakapag-form tayo ng flux. Kung walang zeta potential or electrical charges, hindi tayo makakapag-form ng flux. Walang adsorption, kumbaga, na nangyayari. Okay. So, the interaction between particles may be described or characterized by DLVO or yung Derjaguin-Landover-Weover-Beek theory natin. So, it describes the interaction forces between particles in lyophobic colloids or known as sols, considering both repulsive and attractive forces. So, yung repulsive forces natin, it originate from the interaction of the electrical double layers that surrounds the particles, while yung attractive forces natin are due to van der Waals interaction. So therefore, yung total, okay, yung total force, okay, may now be denoted as VR plus your VA, or repulsive plus attractive. So in general, the calculation of your VR or repulsive forces is complex, but a useful approximation was actually stated or given to us by the LVO. We can use this equation to specifically calculate yung ating VR values. Okay. Where yung gamma natin may be denoted by this expression, and your kappa may be denoted by this expression. So for identical spheres, okay, yung h sub s natin, okay, maybe, tawag ito, for identical spheres, yung h sub s natin is less than or equal to 10 to 20 nanometers or 100 to 200 angstrom. So, saan naman natin siya gagamitin? Ginagamit natin si H sub S to approximately calculate for the attractive forces naman. Okay? Attractive forces. Kasi it is denoted by intermolecular tawag ito, interactions. Yan. Where you have another constant here, which is your Hamaker constant. So yung Hamaker constant natin for the calculation of your attractive forces is dependent on the nature of the material ng particles naman natin. So ito naman ay simple simple calculation to denote kung ang particular system ba natin ay magpo-form ng flux or hindi. Kasi kung mas lamang, okay, yung repulsive forces over the attractive forces, ibig sabihin dispersed ang particles nyo, at kapag ka naman mas malaki yung inyong attractive forces over the repulsive forces, may tendency kayo ngayon mag-form ng flux. So the presence of liquid between particles reduces your attractive forces. Hence, nagkakaroon tayo ng calculation ng tinatawag natin na Hamaker constant or Hamaker constant. Okay? To denote specific dispersion or interaction ng dalawang particles within your fluid. Okay. So at very short distances, Born repulsion arises. From the overlap of electron clouds where it dominates, resulting to a deep primary minimum in the potential energy curve. Okay. And for smooth surfaces naman, this limits the closest approach distance natin or the minimum, okay, distance ng dalawang particles to approximately 0.4 nanometers or 4 angstrom. And ang minimum, okay, na, what do you call this? Pagsasama-sama ng particles natin, ng suspended solids natin, most likely sa isang system is known to be coagulation. So, it is exemplified by the aggregation of pleophobic sols upon the addition of sodium chloride. So, yun yung difference nilang dalawa ni flocculation. Okay? So, basically, flocculation is the beginning of coagulation. Okay. So, flocculation occurs kapag yung depth ng secondary minimum natin in the potential energy curve is larger compared to the thermal energy of the particles. Meaning, mas mataas yung tendency na magkaroon ng interaction or ng attraction compared to repulsion. So, this minimum represents a loose, easily reversible form of aggregation wherein nagkakaroon ng distinction from coagulation, which occurs in the primary minimum. Okay. So, other than concentrations, ang nakaka-apekto din sa sedimentation or sa flocculation and coagulation is yung polymer stability natin. So, flocculation dramatically affects sedimentation. In flocculated suspensions, the settling rate and final sediment volume are governed by the concentration ng flux natin and the interparticle forces between them. So, lesser concentrations, less interparticle interactions, less din ang na-form natin na sludge. So, ang tendency, mas madami ang suspension or suspended particles dun sa particular system. So, batch settling tests typically reveal two distinct behaviors depending on the initial solids concentration and the condition kung saan nandoon yung system. At low concentrations, yung flux natin, nagsasettle sila individually as discrete units. Kumbaga, hiwa-hiwalay sila nagsasettle doon sa ilalim. Makikita mo yung distinction nilang lahat. Okay? And conversely, at higher concentrations, ang tendency naman ay magkaroon ng interconnected flux or parang aggregation nga, pagsasama-sama ng mga suspended particles natin at mag-form sila ng sludge sa ilalim. That would result to a specific settling regime. Sorry. Yan. So, coagulation, as it is inferred kanina, na parang second step siya, okay, ng sedimentation, occurs kapag yung energy barrier preventing particle aggregation is overcome. Meaning, yung flocculation kasi, yan, parang ganyan-ganyan lang siya. May mga electrostatic attraction, kumbaga. Pero kapag coagulation, ang nangyayari is ganito na siya. Ay, na-lowbat ang person. Sige, wala na naman tayong isang solve. Ang i-represent natin ay ito. Ayan. So kapag flocculation kasi, gaya na nasabi ko kanina, hiwa-hiwalay pa siya. Magkakalapit lang sila because of electrostatic, kumbaga parang, tawag ito, attracted lang sila. Kapag coagulation, ang nangyayari is talagang dumidikit. Nagkakaroon ng adsorption effect, kumbaga. Ayan. One reason kung bakit ito ay nade-denote din as particle enlargement. So, coagulation occurs kapag yung energy barrier natin, okay, that prevents the particle aggregation mismo, okay, or yung pagsasama-sama ay na-overcome. So, this can be accomplished, for example, by increasing the ionic strength of the solution, which compresses the electrical double layers and reduces the repulsive forces between particles, thus promotes aggregation ng mga suspended particles natin. So, modern analysis of both perikinetic and orthokinetic coagulation was considered in hydrodynamic and interparticle forces. That is why yung rate of coagulation natin ay ngayon nakadepende sa frequency ng particle collisions. Okay? Kasi ang particle collision may be observed in Brownian motion that is also termed as perikinetic coagulation. And kapag naman, ang collision ay result ng velocity gradients ng fluid natin, it is called orthokinetic coagulation. So again, kapag perikinetic coagulation, it is the free movement ng inyong particle within your fluid. That's under Brownian motion, gaya ng gases natin that moves freely, okay, in an open space. Kapag orthokinetic coagulation, merong velocity gradient. Kumbaga, siya ay affected ng collisions. Affected siya ng intermolecular or interparticle na interaction. Okay. So, your perikinetic coagulation is typically too slow for practical applications gaya ng wastewater treatments. Kaya most of the time, ang ginagamit talaga sa mga processes is an orthokinetic coagulation to achieve more rapid flux growth. Kasi nga, ang pinaka-driving force kung bakit nagkakaroon ng flux is yung collision mismo, transfer ng energies through kinetic motion ang nangyayari. Kaya nagkakaroon ng coagulants or kung bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng mas malaking particle size ng ating mga suspended particles within a system. So in this system, a flock collision occur under turbulent, non-uniform flow, making a rigorous kinetic analysis of coagulation quite challenging nga lang. Maganda si orthokinetic kasi mas madami siyang flux na napoproduce compared to perikinetic coagulation. However, dahil masyadong disturbed yung system under orthokinetic coagulation, medyo mahirap siyang i-quantify. And that ends sedimentation. Naintindihan niyo ba? Nagets ninyo, nasundan, or if hindi man sobra, at least ay nagkaroon ng idea, nagkaroon ng glimpse sa kung ano ang sedimentation. Actually, si sedimentation ay parang ano lang, motion ng particle din nga lang sa fluid. Ano? Tapos, kapag ka naman siya ay, tawag dito, hindered in a sense na may barrier, filtration naman na siya. Tapos kapag ka naman sedimentation is governed by centrifugal forces, centrifugation naman na siya. Ganun lang naman yung differences nilang dalawa. Okay? May questions po or clarifications? Yes, Dominic.
Sir, may tanong lang po ako sa sa quiz po sa Partech.
Ah.
Hanggang size enlargement lang ga po. Kasi doon po sa module, yung lecture 4 po yung size enlargement po.
Wait lang. Ano ba yung na-upload ko? Hanggang motion. Sa module kasi, chapter 4. Pero ang na-discuss natin ay hanggang lecture 4. So, ang lecture 4 natin ay motion of particles in fluid. Okay? Ang P-set po, kailan ang pasa? Ang problem set, normally nagpapapasa naman ako ay during examination para mag-serve as review ninyo. Any other questions po?
Sir, kailan daw pong pasahan ng PSET?
Ano ga, kasasagot ko lang eh.
Sorry na, sir.
Kasasagot ko. Yung totoo, sinong antok sa ating dalawa? Kasasagot ko lang na during exam. Ay di kung mapatapat na Monday next week, ay di Monday next week ang pasa.
Thanks, sir.
Kakautas ka, bang? Okay, any other questions po? So far naman ay clear ang ating... Yes, Darlene?
Sir, kailan po ang pasa ng CSET?
Aba naman? Ulit-ulit. Pag wala ng tanong, sir, question and answer ka po ang format. Yeah, syempre. Question and answer. Pwede rin namang question, tapos answer lang lahat. Eh di parang gagawin yung cover page yung question. Basta lalagyan yung pangalan, ha? At huwag naman magpapasa nung tinupi lamang para magkasama-sama. Paki-stapler naman. Ano po? Merong nagpapasa sa akin, tinupi lang ang duluhan eh. Para masabing sama-sama yung papel. Kakaawa na eh. Walang walagat, walang maibiling stapler. Okay. Salong po, ha? Dominic, salong, may format na nakalagay doon, ha? Partech at SEPA yun. Patas ako. May pagkatanong-tanong pa sa akin kung saan daw ilalagay. Okay, but anyways. Yan. So, if wala na pong question, ayun, hindi na natin na-tackle ang filtration. So, most probably next week na. Konti lang naman yung mga nasa 30 slides lang yun. Tapos hanggang doon lang yung ating midterm exam. As per Ma'am Nanit. Yes, Ariane.
Sir, ilang decimals po for PSET sa final answer po?
Kahit mga 4 para mas madali identify. Kasi pag 2 minsan, ang laki ng discrepancy talaga. Kahit mga 4 decimal places. No?
Sige po, thank you po.
Pero yung kung paano nyo siya nakuha, hayaan nyo lang kung ano lumabas sa calcul nyo. If floating numbers nyo na lang siya. Okay. So, sige. Ayan. Ano ba yan? Ang dami naman. Sir, ano pong type ng quiz? Okay ka lang na identification lahat, Hubert. Aba naman, partek ang subject. Sep ang subject. Itatanong niyo pa sa akin yan. Syempre, merong concepts at merong ano. Tapos lagi naman ako multiple choice. Ayoko nagpapa-identify kasi sana sa walang sagot. Mali ang sagot. Yes, Kurt.
Sir, ano pong exam po ba yan? Before midterm or before quiz? This Monday.
Ha? Anong before?
Yung hindi pa yung pagpapasa ko ng ano po.
Before midterm.
Akala ko before quiz.
Aba naman, hindi naman. Before midterm. Okay. Kasi for sure ako, sa pinasasagutan ko ay wala pa kayo sa kalahati. It's either ngayong linggo pa lang din kayo magsasagot. Diga, dami na tawa. Masyado ko nang kilala ang mga estudyante natin. Kaya, Diyos ko, lahat na napag-adjust nagawa na natin. Ano pa? Sir, may bonus po. Depende. Gusto ko yung tatanong agad ng bonus, wala pa nga nasasagutan. Sir, ang formula po, pinag-iisipan ko pa. Bigyan niyo ako until tomorrow. Kasi quiz naman yun. Pero baka sa exam, di ko na siya i-allow. Yung quiz, 50-50 ako. Sa exam, major exam, baka di ko na siya i-allow. Baga for the sake na maalala siya, maaral siya. Yun yung iniisip ko kasi. Sir, kailan po ang quiz? Ano ga? Nag-send na ako ng schedule natin ha, Danica? Di kay Monday? Tama di ka? Monday? Tapos ang SEPA ay Wednesday. SEPA ay Wednesday. Tapos may lecture tayo ng filtration ng Tuesday. Tapos, tatapusin natin yung multi-stage ng Thursday. Di ka? Sir, hopefully may formula sheet. Taray. Kahit sa exam na lang po may formula sheet. Alam, wala rin naman kayo sinasagot kahit may formula sheet. Ako yung niloloko nyo lang eh. Tanda ko yun sa PChem. Nabigay ko ng lahat. Wala pa rin sagot. Ano gayon? Kaya iniisip ko, sir, past is past. O, diba? Sana nga, sana nagbago na kayo. Sana ay kahit may formula sheet, may naisagot na. Sir, people change. Talaga lang ha. Sige, pag-iisipan ko yan. Iisipan ko hanggang bukas, 12 p.m. Kung i-allow natin. So, syempre may specific size. Ayoko nung palakihan kayo ng index card if ever. Paglaki ng index card kasi pag dami ng sinusulat, kahit di na dapat isulat Tama na yung mga 116. Kahit hanggang 12 a.m. kayo mag-isip, sir. Tamo? Ay, ito yung confident kayo hanggang 12 a.m. Parang may naka-ready naman na. Iniintay na lang approval. Yun ako, pinaglololo ko. Gusto ko, kilala ko ka kayo. Siya. Wala nang ibang tanong. Puro kayo kalokohan. Yan ha. Pag kayo wala na isagot, sinasabi ko sa inyo. Yung mahihirap na problem sa Coulson, tinuturo ko na. Mauutas ako ng pag-i-exit kanina. Sir, bakit po online sa March 15 lahat? Dahil ata ng Bat State UCAT entrance exam ata. Saturday, Sunday. Kumakawaw naman. Palibasa hindi nag-Bat State UCAT. What if pakuhanin ko kayo ng Bat State UCAT? Kaya nandito. Kaya nandito naghihirap. Di naman. Kayo naman ay nakalaan para dyan. Ang tanong ay hanggang kailan? Di ka. Kaya yan. Nandiyan na kayo, third year na eh. Ngayon pa kayo susuko. Fourth year na, sir. Third year. Abay, dalawa pa ang subject sa akin. SEPA at Partech. Third year. Fourth year, third year standing. Henry, tawang-tawa. Akala mo talaga may points yung ha mo. Kung may points, ay perfect ka na eh. Tumawa ka na ng tumawa sa klase ko. Okay. So, wala ng questions. Naglulukuhan na lang tayo dito. Kanina, ang tahimik, walang nasagot. Kaya nga, di ba? Kanina nagtatanong ako kung anong sagot, walang nasagot sa akin, dadalo, tatlo. Ngayon naman, daming tanong. Siya, sige na. If wala ng questions, thank you so much for your time. I hope may natutunan kahit papaano. And, yun. Class dismiss tayo. Nakapost na naman yung quiz tsaka problem set. Ang hindi ko na lang napopost ay laboratory at final project. As a reminder para din ma-turn email niya. So, sige. Again, class dismiss
Thank you po, sir.